Tonight, a CBC News exclusive as the jury hears more testimony in day 2 of the Samwel Ugo coroner's inquest. We sit down with the young man's parents for an interview. Also, portfolios are shifting. Premier Scott Moe shuffles government cabinet and one makes history. Plus, Canada's Auditor General says the federal government is failing a long list of people.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Tuesday, May 31st, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. The inquest into the death of Samwel Ugo continued today with details of why hospital staff turned him away. The young football player drowned in Wascana Lake 2 years ago, just hours after being forcibly removed from Regina General Hospital. Ugo's parents are here in Regina for the inquest, and in just a minute, we'll bring you an exclusive interview. But first, here's Laura Sharpaletti with the latest from the inquest.
On May 21st, 2020, Samwel Ugo went to the Regina General Hospital and sought treatment for mental health issues. The second time, he was forcibly removed from the hospital. Only hours later, he was found in Wascana Lake, drowned. This morning, the jury heard from 2 education assistants at Abbotsford Senior Secondary School, which Ugo attended before graduating in 2018. They were in contact with Ugo the day he died. Ugo had been posting concerning messages on Facebook, including one that said, "I need help." Various people started messaging and calling Ugo. Former educational assistant Amanda Johansson said he was acting paranoid and incoherent, and that she never saw him act like that. She does not think Regina General Hospital took Ugo seriously. Witnesses discussed confusion around Ugo's name on the day he died. In the morning, he was registered at Regina Hospital with the surname Dow, but during his second visit that day, he was registered under the name Ugo. Registration clerk Rhonda Schmallenberg checked him in the first time. She admitted to the jury that she was confused by Ugo's BC driver's license and didn't see the name Ugo, just the middle name Dow. She said he was being incoherent and said he was hearing voices. The SHA previously revealed that due to the pandemic, people were not able to hang around the hospital at that time, and that may have contributed to the removal of Ugo by security. Laura Sharpaletti, CBC News, Regina.
Many of the details of the inquest are difficult to hear, especially for Samwel Ugo's parents. They sat down for an exclusive interview with CBC News. Here's Omaira Issa with more.
A grieving father.
Too much, man. God bless you.
And a mother still reeling. My son didn't have any problem with anybody. What he could offer is just a smile, as you can see from his face. The 20-year-old from Abbotsford in BC died at Wascana Lake in Regina on May 21st, 2020. The promising football player was in the middle of a mental health crisis and sought help at the Regina General Hospital twice in one day.
Leave me alone. I said I don't because I have mental issues.
Eventually, he was forcibly removed by security. A few hours later, he was found drowned in the lake. He died by suicide, according to his family. Speaking through a Sudanese Arabic translator, Samwel Ugo's parents say they're still looking for answers. I was not happy the way that someone was treated who went to the hospital seeking treatment. But see, what happened to him being pulled away, that shouldn't happen to a person.
For this, I am deeply sorry.
The Saskatchewan Health Authority apologized to Ugo's family. It admitted it had failed to provide care and paid $81,000 in damages to the family. A coroner's inquest is currently underway. From there, a jury will make recommendations to prevent similar deaths. This incident has made many in Saskatchewan's Black community lose faith in the healthcare system.
It's very unfortunate if that night we had cultural sensitivity people around, or somebody looked like Samwel. Maybe Samwel would have been alive today. You know what it means when I go to hospital, I see a black person, or I see a black doctor, or even a black janitor, I feel good. Then I feel safe.
We have to relieve that again.
Uko's uncle says his race affected the level of care the hospital provided.
They did not feel compassion to Samwel because of his color of his skin. Nothing else will make us think otherwise.
In a statement, the SHA says it is committed to better support its diverse population.
Because you want to help.
The family says this week-long inquest is a first step in the long road to justice for Samwel Ugo. Omera Isa, CBC News, Regina.
If you or someone you know is struggling, here's where to get help any time of day 24/7. You can call the Canadian Suicide Prevention Service at 1-833-456-4566 or text 45645. A Regina Police Commission report tabled at City Hall today shows officers used less force less often last year. In total, Regina Police used force 282 times in 2021. That's down about 13% from the previous year. Use of force can range from pointing a gun at someone to using a neck restraint.
The police officer's behavior can sometimes escalate a situation or de-escalate a situation depending on where we go. And so I think, the increased efforts that have been put into de-escalation, not just by our police service, but at the Saskatchewan Police College, can't help but have a positive impact. Now, that said, it's just like crime stats. I can't promise you that next year we're going to see another decrease in use of force. It's very much dependent on the situations as they unfold.
The Police Commission report also says use of force was appropriate in all instances last year. Premier Scott Moe shuffled his cabinet today. No sweeping changes, but he did move some high-profile ministers into new portfolios and made history, too. Adam Hunter has the details.
And I am very grateful that you have agreed to the duties that have been put before you.
For the first time in a year and a half, Premier Scott Moe has announced a cabinet shuffle. 10 ministers are staying in their roles, while 5 are changing portfolios.
To confirm the appointment of the Honourable Bronwyn Eyre.
Most notably, Bronwyn Eyre, who becomes the first woman in the province's history to be named Attorney General. Eyre graduated from the U of S's College of Law, but has never practiced as a lawyer. This comes at a time when the province is signaling even more legal challenges to the federal government.
Across a number of ministries, we see that jurisdictional challenge between the federal and the provincial constitutionally. Certainly, as I say, in energy and resources, we see that in environment and some other ministries.
I have the honour to recommend the appointment of the Honourable Gordon Wyant QC.
The previous Justice Minister, Gord Wyant, moves to advanced education. Jean Mikowski is the new Minister of Social Services, replacing Laurie Carr, who moves to Sask Builds. Mikowski takes over her Carr at a time when social services has come under fire over controversial changes to social assistance, which critics say have fueled homelessness.
I'll work on that understanding of what some of the challenges are out there, and again work with all stakeholders and those that are in this ministry, and look forward to see what they have to say.
Jim Ryder is the new Minister of Energy and Resources. Fred Bradshaw and Warren Kading are out of cabinet, replaced by 2 new faces. Dana Skorapad, the MLA for Arm River, is the new Minister of Environment, while Jeremy Cockrell, the MLA for the Battlefords, is the new Minister of Highways.
When you get a call from the Premier asking you to serve in this other capacity and serve all the people of the province, humbling is really, I think, maybe the best way to put it. I mean, there's lots to learn, so that's looking forward to that.
The number in cabinet remains at 18 people, and the new cabinet ministers will have time to get familiar with their new portfolios as the legislative sitting has adjourned until the fall. Adam Hunter, CBC News, Regina.
In response to the cabinet shuffle, opposition leader Ryan Miley had this to say, quote, "Most striking is the decision to maintain Paul Merriman as Minister of Health. Under his leadership, Saskatchewan had the worst response to the 4th wave of the pandemic," end quote. He goes on to say, quote, "Maintaining Merriman in this role sends a clear signal to frontline workers and will create clear challenges when it comes to the retention and recruitment of healthcare workers to this province." A mining company based out of Vancouver has officially opened a Saskatchewan headquarters in Saskatoon. Foran Mining's new office was unveiled this morning in Stonebridge. The company is a copper, zinc, gold and silver exploration and development company with a commitment to a greener future. Its goal is to design and build the first carbon-neutral copper mine in Canada, and it's hoping to do that in eastern Saskatchewan on the Peter Ballantine Cree Nation.
We are going through a series of permitting processes right now, and we have our First Nation partners involved with that process. So rather than have let the process go on and they can comment through public comment period, we'd like to do that up front.
It's both an incredible opportunity and a big responsibility that as we do play a bigger role in providing what the world needs, that we work together, we do it in a collaborative way, we make sure that everybody is part of that success.
Bernier says they're working with Sask Power to get renewable energy supply for the project. In terms of emissions, they've chosen battery electric vehicles instead of heavy diesel machinery. During construction, the company anticipates about 800 jobs will be created. Upon completion, it's expected the mine will employ about 390 people. Well, that hurts. Gas prices are climbing again in Saskatchewan. Pumps in Regina and Saskatoon hitting $1.95.9 today for a liter of regular unleaded, which means if you're a premium customer, you're paying even more. If you're curious, for comparison, customers are paying about $2.16.9 a liter in BC today. Ethan is back with the weather after the break. Stay with us. Starting a new school can be a difficult time for any student, but that's made harder when it's a new country and language. That's why a group is trying to make the transition easier for Ukrainian refugees coming to Winnipeg by teaching them about school in Canada. Andrew Wilds tells us more.
The other one, which is be a team. Can anyone tell me how can one be a team?
It's Nelly Dubois' second day on the job. She only arrived in Winnipeg in April, having fled from Odessa the day Russia invaded Ukraine. Now she's helping refugee children get ready for school.
You can write the differences.
Dubois knows what the children are going through, having had a similar experience growing up.
I moved from one country to another in childhood, and I was just dropped in the school. And I was so stressed, like really very stressed, although I knew that culture and I knew language, but it was still a big stress for me.
The Introduction to Canadian Education program is provided to newcomer and refugee children by Needs Inc. For no charge, newcomer and refugee children can get a taste of what school in Canada will be like.
So it helps to prepare them for transitioning into public schools. So, learning things like the Canadian school system, how to keep themselves safe in Winnipeg, community resources, as well as employment opportunities.
So it is much easier. And when you got in the school, you are prepared already, physically and emotionally. And it is very important.
The program isn't new, but is expected to be utilized a lot more in coming months.
The first thing, what they feel like they're strangers. They don't belong to this society. So that's the main issue. In this case, they need to understand the culture, they need to understand the system.
The federal government launched the Canadian-Ukrainian Authorization for Emergency Travel program on March 17. As of May 18, over 100,000 applicants have been approved. Andrew Wiles, CBC News, Winnipeg.
This weather update is brought to you by Capital GMC Buick Cadillac. The exclusive export event is back.
Ethan Williams joins me now, and I almost want to skip you because I don't want to hear what you're about to tell me.
Yeah, not great news on the horizon. Could be worse, I guess, but little chilly temperatures on the way, and a little bit of this too. We got some frost advisories out for the western half of the south and central part of the province, Saskatoon, Kindersley down to Swift Current, even up toward Meadow Lake. High pressure moves in. This is going to clear us out tonight, and it's also going to cool us down. It will drop the winds though, but if you do have some plants that you want to take in, or maybe look out for those veggies that you've planted too. If you've planted some carrots or peas, lettuce already, these will likely withstand tonight's frost. But if you got things like maybe some tomato or squash out there, likely not going to make it and might be a little interesting come tomorrow morning, but not completely out of the question frost this time of year. At places like Saskatoon, Moose Jaw, Swift Current usually seeing their last spring frost around May 21st. We're a little past that now. North Battleford, we're almost on par for your average last frost around May 28th. At Meadow Lake, you generally see frost even all the way to June 4th. And of course, for a lot of locations across the province, not completely unusual to see frost into June as well. But we're dealing with a very windy day today, and we are still seeing gusts between 50 and 60 kilometers an hour out of the north and northwest at this point. These will die down tonight, but they will be back tomorrow. Now, for the south and central part of the province, we are cleared out tonight. Of course, as that frost moves in, but we are watching that big swirling Colorado low to our east in Manitoba. And tonight, as that moves northward, some of that precipitation is going to turn into snow. And in Manitoba, they're dealing with winter storm warnings as that snow moves in. On our side of the border, though, I think it's mostly just going to be rain for places along the eastern border. Then as we get into tomorrow, that rain shifts southward, and places like Hudson Bay and maybe even down toward Yorkton could pick up some moisture. And here's how much we're looking at until tomorrow at midnight, generally up to 10 millimeters in places like Pelican, Narrows, and South End, even up toward Collins Bay, maybe around 5 millimeters in there. But again, I think it should stay mostly rain. I don't think we're looking at snow at this point. Forecast wind gusts this evening will be quite strong, but watch how they quickly drop overnight as we get into early tomorrow morning. They'll be down only between 10 and 20 kilometers an hour for gusts, save maybe the far north part of the province dealing with that low pressure system. And then they pick up again tomorrow. Again, we're out of the north and northwest between 50 and 60 kilometers an hour. We had gusts between 60 and 70 kilometers an hour in Regina this morning, and that's not completely out of the question for tomorrow. And then they are back again on Thursday before I think finally on Friday we will get a break. Next 7 days in Regina, we're looking at a high of 18 tomorrow in the Queen City with some nice sun. Again, gusty winds both on Wednesday, Thursday. We'll see cloud cover build back in toward the end of the week, but temperatures will be not too bad as we head through the weekend. In Saskatoon tomorrow, we're looking at also some sunny conditions, high of 19. We'll see pretty much no moisture forecast for the rest of the week and into next week as well. Temperatures generally hanging around the 20-degree mark. Notice those overnight lows too, slowly creeping their way up closer toward 10 degrees, Sam. We're getting close to those nice spring and summer evenings where you can sit outside and not have to worry about bundling up too much.
Which is exactly what Rider fans will have to do tonight in the stadium.
That is true.
Thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
A company in Japan has developed its first four-legged robot. Bex is named after the wild goat species, the ibex. Wheels are tucked in its underbelly for traveling on smoother surfaces, and it can carry loads of up to 100 kilograms. Kawasaki designed it, created to solve a balancing problem its two-legged robots faced, performing tasks in industry and agriculture. They're testing now, with plans to start selling Bex commercially next year. We'll be back after the break. Jacob Hogard is facing a new allegation of rape. The frontman for rock band Headley is already awaiting a verdict at his sexual assault trial in Toronto. Now, another charge from another woman. She says he raped her after a 2016 concert in Kirkland Lake. The complainant spoke to CBC's Judy Trin in an exclusive interview. CBC is now able to report this new charge because the jury is now deliberating. Her identity is protected by a court order and her voice has been altered. But first, a warning to our viewers that this story contains graphic details.
She was a 19-year-old Headley fan who went to the band's concert during Kirkland Lake's homecoming week. She just wanted to talk music and jam with the lead singer. Instead, she says Jacob Hogard forced himself on her. Her identity is protected by a court order.
I kept telling him, no, don't stop, over and over and over again.
Hogard's lawyer says the singer is innocent and denies this allegation. In June 2016, following the concert, the young woman and other fans partied with the band around a fire pit near their hotel. She got drunk. That's when she says Hogard brought her to his room.
He tried to remove my clothes and I told him no, and he did it anyways.
She says Hogarth took a naked photo of her without consent, then raped her.
He called me a dirty little piggy. I was in a lot of pain and I was crying.
And he didn't seem to notice the pain or the crying when he did that.
He completely ignored it.
She says Hogarth choked and slapped her, leaving a red handprint on her thigh that lasted a week.
I felt powerless. I couldn't run away. I couldn't go anywhere. I was stuck there with him.
The woman lives in British Columbia. For 6 years, she kept the incident a secret, but is now pressing forward with a charge.
I just want to tell my story, and I hope justice will be served.
After investigating the Kirkland Lake incident, Ontario Provincial Police charged Hogarth with sexual assault causing bodily harm. His next court appearance is August 4th. Hogarth's lawyer says he will vigorously defend himself and plead not guilty. Judy Trin, CBC News, Ottawa.
The Federal Auditor General has released 4 reports on how Ottawa is delivering programs to Canadians. Karen Hogan says the government is not living up to its commitments, and the quality of services and benefits is getting worse in some cases.
There's a lot of commitments, a lot of action plans, a lot of activity that we've seen across these 4 audits, but previous audits as well. But it's time for really all of that to be translated into concrete, real, different outcomes for Canadians.
The 4 reports looked at the government's efforts to provide disability benefits to veterans, deliver income and other benefits to vulnerable populations, use gender-based analysis to improve people's lives, and help diverse prison populations. In many cases, Ottawa has not been able to meet its own goals or has been unable to determine whether its efforts to improve service are actually working. Economic growth in Canada took a hit in the first quarter of this year. Gross domestic product increased by 3.1%, down sharply from 6.6% at the end of last year. The decline was not unexpected, and analysts say the Canadian economy remains on a strong footing. Household spending continued to increase, and business spending on equipment and machinery rose as well. The decline is blamed on restrictions and shutdowns in January that were triggered by the Omicron variant of COVID-19. And Ethan is back with one last look at tonight's weather.
Pretty cool night in Regina, Sam, but by the time we get to 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, we'll be sunny and 10 degrees. Winds pretty breezy out of the northwest, gusting up to 30 kilometers an hour. We get to noon. Sunshine sticks around. We'll be at 16. Those winds picking up significantly out of the northwest. In Saskatoon, we're looking at 10 degrees tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. under sunny skies. Again, northwest winds quite breezy. Those will stick with us as we head to the noon hour. 17 degrees, getting close to 50 kilometers an hour gusts out of the northwest. Now for tonight, the preseason match between the Riders and the Bombers at Mosaic Stadium. We're looking at 16 degrees with some pretty gusty winds out of the northwest up to 42 kilometers an hour. Kickoff just over half an hour away, Sam.
All right, thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
And that is it for us tonight. For news anytime, you can always head to our website or subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel. We leave you now with a live shot of Mosaic Stadium, where the Riders will kick off against the Bombers in about half an hour. Ethan will be back with local news at 11. Thanks for watching and have a great night.